Hey, this is Brian from High Impact Flicks. Welcome back to the channel. This is an example of non-technical people pretending they know something about technology so that they can rip the rest of us off through carbon taxes. This right here is Doug LaMalfa. He's a representative for California. Listen to the question that he asked this team of panelists on this House Transportation Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Panelists, let me just go right down the line real fast. What % of our atmosphere is CO2? Take your best guess. You don't have to be accurate. All down the line.
Repeat that question.
What % of our atmosphere is CO2, carbon dioxide? Wild guess. It's okay.
Look at this guy's face right here. It's like, oh, we didn't expect that question. Seems like an obvious question for people to ask when CO2 is the thing that they're trying to eliminate from the atmosphere so we can have a better world, so we can actually have a world in 7 to 10 years, right, AOC?
I'll bite 5%.
5?
I'll just follow you then.
We'll go 7. That's my favorite number.
I'll see their 5 and suggest that we know that transportation causes 49% of CO2, so that's why we're all working on energy transition.
All right. So what number do you think it is?
Transportation causes 49% of CO2. So what percent of CO2 makes up our atmosphere is the question.
5.
5? How about you? I didn't hear you, Mr. Dreyer.
7.
7. Did you have one, Mr. Boyd?
So we got a 5, 7,
This Price is Right.
8. I'm going to
Okay.
get the high end.
All right. Well, I appreciate that, and I don't mean to put you on ice. I ask a lot of people that because all we hear is climate change, CO2, CO2. I heard a couple of you on the panel saying you're looking to change your vehicles to electric, even though we don't have the electric grid. And me as a farmer, I wouldn't be real happy about running out and replacing $300,000, $500,000, $1 million pieces of equipment because someone wants it to be electric. The answer is 0.04%. Not 1%, not a half of a percent. It's 0.04%, and it's gone up from 0.03 over the last couple decades. This is what we're being all contorted into doing, is this tiny change in CO2. If we get below 0.02, plant life starts dying off. So let me ask Mr. Boyd, what?
So they could literally put us in a position where they've eliminated so much CO2 that we don't have plant life. If you don't have plant life, guess what else you don't have? You don't have animal life. Think about what he said here, because I didn't know the answer to this question before I saw this. Roughly all of the Earth's atmosphere is made up of 5 gases: nitrogen, oxygen, water vapor, argon, and carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is the fourth most abundant compound in the atmosphere at 0.04%. Not 0.4%, 0.04%. Nitrogen and oxygen are the most abundant compounds at 78% and 20.9% respectively. 0.04%. And these people right here sitting behind this desk laughing, not knowing the answer to a basic question when they are in charge of whispering in the ears of politicians and lobbyists who will set policies that will end up taxing the rest of us. And what I mean by taxing is stealing from the rest of us to the tune of whatever percentage they say we need so that we can get this carbon dioxide problem under control. They're going to go after the product of your time and laboring energy, the product of your children's grandchildren's time and laboring energy. And that is the state that we find ourselves in the 2020s. So welcome back to the High Impact Flicks channel. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, and share it with everybody you know. Stay tuned, because there's more coming up. Hey guys, before we get into today's video, I want to give a real quick shout out to today's sponsor, Virtual Shield VPN. And the reason I promote it, guys, is because I use it every single day and I know that it works, and I've proven it in videos in the past. If you use the link in the description, you're going to get 50% off, and that's going to help you protect your identity, your activity, and your location anytime you're surfing on the net. That link is in the description below. Now I want to focus real quick on some riots that are going on in Compton and Chicago. Check this out.
Hundreds of people storm an Arco gas station in Compton, stealing thousands of dollars in merchandise while a sideshow blocks a nearby intersection. KTLA's Carlos Salcedo live in Paramount tonight, where another looting happened just an hour before. Carlos.
That's right, a 7-Eleven here in Paramount was raided by a mob following a street takeover. The owner tells me he's now out thousands of dollars. Tonight, officials are also investigating another raid, this one happening in Compton. A mob swarms the Arco gas station on Alondra and Central in Compton after a vandal breaks open a door. Then, it's a free-for-all. You see some looters with their face.
You're going to tell me that a gun in the hands of this shop owner would not be a good thing? We're talking about, this is California here, one of the most heavily regulated states with regard to gun control, which is not gun control, it's euphemisms. It's people control. They're controlling the people. And what people are they controlling? They're controlling the people, all the people, but specifically the people who really need a firearm to protect themselves, to protect their businesses. When they're protecting your business or their businesses, they're protecting their livelihoods. Tell me that a good warning shot wouldn't send all of these thugs scurrying away?
Faces covered, others not even.
You don't need 30 rounds. You don't need a high capacity magazine. You don't need scary AR-15s. Oh, don't you now? Please tell me, what would happen if Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was in this store? What would happen if Mad Maxine Waters was in this store? What do you think that they would want to have? They would want to have their security detail, but if they couldn't have their security detail, they would probably want a firearm. Not a cell phone so that they can call 911, a firearm so that they can call upon 357 or 1911.
Bothering concealing their identity as they ransack the store. They grab everything from booze to condoms, what some would consider essential items. This happened around 2:30.
Look at this guy's face right here. No fear of any kind of repercussion at all, because they know there are laws in place that if they found out that in the state of California they stole less than $950 worth of goods, then they're going to be set free. Probably not even going to have a record. Probably won't have enough jail space in Compton to book them.
Essential items. This happened around 2:30 Sunday morning. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department says thousands of dollars worth of merchandise was stolen. Deputies say the mob was part of a crowd that had gathered for a street takeover. The scene has become far too common. This was one of at least 3 street takeovers in Compton overnight. Concerned residents say parents are bringing their little ones to watch.
And they had the kids did the door open and say, "Yay, daddy, I want to do it, not safe." And they have babies doing that, not safe.
Investigators say shots were fired about a block away from where the looting took place, but nobody was injured.
It does piss me off a lot because why would you do that?
An hour before this was...
Well, you would do that because you weren't raised properly, number one. You wouldn't do that because you don't have a father in the home. You wouldn't do that because, and the reason you don't have a father in the home is because the policies that were set forth by the California government and really by the federal government in the United States. There's so many problems here. You wouldn't care to do that to somebody else because maybe you're on pharmaceutical medication that's messing up your brain and you can't make decisions you otherwise could have made if you weren't on those pharmaceuticals. There's a lot of factors involved here. And the key component here is the biggest problem is the breakdown of the American family. When you don't have stability in the family home, the mother and the father training the children what they should do and what they shouldn't do, teaching morality, teaching ethics, you have this kind of thing right here. And you have this kind of thing in Chicago, Chirac.
Some breaking news off the top. Hundreds of teens flooding into downtown Chicago tonight, smashing car windows, trying to get into Millennium Park, prompting a major police response. Within the past few minutes, shots were fired near the corner of Madison and Michigan. Now, we had a news crew on the scene, but they had to move because of safety concerns. I was there a little bit earlier, about an hour and a half ago, and saw police escorting tourists and visitors to their cars in the Millennium Park parking garage. The crowd was trying to get into Millennium Park, but there are checkpoints that are not allowing anyone under the age of 21 who's not with an adult to get in. So they're massing across the street on the other side of Michigan Avenue. I spoke to a woman whose car was smashed by people jumping on the windshield. She says the crowd began beating her husband as he sat in the driver's seat. He's now been sent to Northwestern Memorial Hospital.
You think it's bad now? Wait till all the Federal Reserve notes come home to roost, like we've been talking about, because of all the nations like China and Russia and India and South America are abandoning Saudi Arabia. They want to abandon the dollar. When all those dollars come home and it floods the supply here in the United States, and then we don't experience just inflation, but hyperinflation, and food prices get so high that you can't purchase anything, wait till the riots start then. We ain't seen nothing yet. Probably wouldn't be a good idea to live in or near a big city. One last thing is, we talk about the gun control, but I wanted to show you something that was pretty interesting from the Young Turks. They put out this video recently. When was this? 21 hours ago. It's got 200,000 views. It says Republican governor makes surprising gun control announcement. Now, I've always contended from the very beginning that gun control is racist. It's misogynistic, because when you want to implement gun control, it's human control, it's people control, and the people that you're wanting to control are women. You want to control black people. Yes, it's everybody, but you want to take guns away from black people. That makes you racist. I personally want black people to be empowered. They should be free and are free, because we're in the land of free and home of the brave, right? Har, har, har. I want them to be free to reach out their hand and get whatever personal protection device they can afford. If you can buy it in the free market, if you have the means to buy that weapon and somebody has the desire to sell that weapon, nobody should keep you from that weapon. And when they try to, that's called an infringement. Women should have it so they can empower themselves against would-be murderers and rapists. But when you try to take those firearms away in the name of safety, which is ridiculous, because, the safety of the people will always be the alibi of tyrants. And if you want to initiate gun control, you are a tyrant. But listen to the Young Turks unwittingly say that they're racist. This is hilarious. Listen to this.
In a surprising turn of events, the governor of Tennessee, who is in fact a Republican, Bill Lee, is calling for gun reform. In fact, he signed an executive order following the school shooting at the Covenant School, which of course killed 6 individuals, 3 of whom were children. It was a religious school, and there were calls for some level of gun reform following that shooting. In fact, that was also what led to 2 Democratic lawmakers getting expelled from the state legislature because they had engaged in a protest calling for gun control legislation. Now, the executive order mostly just calls for bulking up the background checks that are conducted to ensure that individuals who have no business purchasing a gun legally are unable to do so. So 4 days after the Covenant shooting, the deadliest school shooting in state history, Lee told the Tennessean he believes people who are a danger to themselves or to others.
And who decides that? Who determines that? This is basically language of the red flag laws, the ERPOs, the extreme risk protection orders, where some family member or even somebody in your community who thinks that you're a danger to yourself or others, they can make an anonymous phone call to the police department, and the police department can actually SWAT you because somebody said that you were unstable and that you got a gun and you need your guns taken away. That is a violation of the 4th Amendment, and nobody seems to care. And notice they logged this under suspicious intent. You're going to see why in a minute.
Should not have access to weapons, a position he reiterated a few days later when announcing a slate of school safety measures with Republican legislative leaders. I should note that the school safety measures were supported by both Democrats and Republicans in the state, but that did nothing in regard to gun control. Now, in the executive order, as I mentioned, it mostly focuses on background checks. And so I'm going to read from the executive order verbatim. He writes, all entities with obligations to report relevant information that is accessible in the Tennessee Instant Check System shall ensure that all relevant information is either entered into TICS or provided to the TBI within 72 hours of an entity's receipt of the information. For purposes of this order, relevant information is criminal history.
Now, just right off the bat, this is anti-Second Amendment and anti-Fourth Amendment. If there's any sort of infringement that keeps you from getting a personal protection device, that is an infringement and that is a violation of the Second Amendment, which this Republican governor swore to protect, defend, and uphold. The second thing is it's a violation of your Fourth Amendment right to be secure in your person. Nobody has any right to send your information to TICS or the TBI. Nobody.
Information and court.
But that's not the angle the Young Turks are going at here.
Mental health information. So I'm going to pause before I get to the rest of his executive order. I don't have any real evidence to believe this, but I am a little bit concerned given the lack of support from people like Bill Lee when it comes to gun control and this sudden change of heart, that this could be either an effort to make it appear as though they're doing something when in reality they're going to do nothing about gun control, or, and this is my real concern, because of the rhetoric we've been hearing on the right wing in regard to transgender individuals, that this will mostly be used to take guns away or limit the Second Amendment rights of transgender people or people who have political ideologies that the right wing does not agree with.
Now, everybody knows that the Young Turks is decidedly anti-Second Amendment, decidedly anti-gun. Cenk Uygur has said time and time again, if he had his way, he would clear the slate and not let any American have guns. So we know they're against guns. But now they're all of a sudden for guns because they're afraid that this new executive order by this Republican governor in Tennessee might possibly take guns away from transgender people. They're not worried about other people, but they are worried about transgender people, which tells you what about the Young Turks. And I want to show you at this very end what Cenk Uygur says about the genesis of the origin of gun control, specifically assault weapons bans. Listen to what he says here. Because and the reason I want to play this is because we know the Young Turks are decidedly anti-gun, pro-gun control.
So I just wanted to be as open about that as possible.
All right, one last thing here. I had recently said, man, if a lot of trans people get guns, watch how quickly the Republicans start doing gun control. Now, that's a comment we used to make about black folks, Muslim folks, etc.
That's actually a good point. It's actually a good point. Because people have been saying on Twitter, we're talking about conservative people, Republican people, GOP people, pro-gun people have been saying, because of this last shooting in Nashville that was done by a transgender person, now they're saying, oh, we need to make sure that we implement gun control, and we need to make sure that we have red flag laws so that anybody who's got a mental illness can be barred from having a gun. The only problem is Republicans. The only problem conservatives. The only problem GOP is who is going to be in charge of telling you that you're not fit to own a gun, that you're not mentally stable to have a gun. They are willing to open the floodgates just because so they can have a conservative talking point. Ridiculous. But listen to what else Cenk Uygur admits here.
And as a lot of you might know, the history of gun control in California is we have it because of Ronald Reagan. And the reason Ronald Reagan put gun control in California is because Black Panthers showed up at the Capitol with guns. And they had every right to at the time, and white people panicked. And they're like, gun control now. And that's apparently what's happening with trans people. And
he is absolutely right. Cenk Uygur, and Mr. Anti-Gun, Mr. Anti-American, anti-your freedom, pro-tyranny, Cenk Uygur got it right. The origin of gun control in California came from Mr. Republican Ronald Reagan because they didn't like the Black Panthers going armed to the state capitol, and everybody freaked out and said, we got to have an assault weapons ban. We got to get rid of these guns. We can't let just any Tom, Dick, and Harry have guns. And so they automatically abandoned the Second Amendment so that they could, basically vilify and penalize a whole group of people who didn't have the same color skin as them. And that shows right there, he's pro-gun control, which means he he roundabout admitted that he is racist because gun control is fundamentally racist. If you guys enjoy these videos, if you disagree, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. I would really like to hear them. You know, none of us is greater than all of us. Criticism is good. That's how we grow. If you haven't done so already, this is a completely demonetized channel, 100% viewer supported. If you want to support this channel, the links are in the description under this video. Subscribe to this channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody, and don't forget to subscribe to my email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. That's highimpactflix.com. And if you want to support the channel further, grab a hard-hitting conversation starting shirt or design from the store. You can put on a shirt, hoodie, mug, cell phone case, whatever you want. This is, I'm an American. I have the right to bear arms. Your approval is not required. I will see you in the next heavily censored shadow ban video. With all the crazy stated plans of the Great Reset, the currency reset, and even the food reset, it's not a matter of if the store shelves are going to clear and there's a lack of food. The question is when. You need to get long-term storable food. It doesn't matter if it's from me or you just go to the store and you buy food. Just grab dry, storable food while you can. If you want to get it from me, you're going to support the channel and you're going to help yourself out because my link has a discount code embedded within it. You can check that out in the description below.